Hello and welcome back again, ladies and gentlemen, or just welcome the first time if you're not a regular returning member of the RV Nerd Herd. Josh the RV Nerd here with Bish's RV with a brand new floor plan. I actually got to see prototype number 1, and I think they've made some major steps forward. What we're looking at here is prototype number 2 of the new 298 Freedom Express, and it's not fully complete yet, but it's getting close. And they said, hey, why don't you come down and get some feedback on this, and maybe we can see if there's a couple little things that we need to tweak before we kind of button her up right here. And this is an interesting floor plan. Like, it's familiar but different. It's the same but somehow unique. I know that sounds nuts, but I've been doing this for a while and I see little shades of different things in here, like even going way back to the days, if those of you who remember the name, the Coachmen Royale, I see like it has the Coachmen Royale bathroom. And for those who don't know this, RVs used to have just tons of like big cabinet storage space and countertops that very often has been lost in a lot of cases in the modern market. And they found a way to twist this weird sucker around to bring all that back. It also has a very private rear bedroom, which is another thing that's hard to find. However, having a rear bedroom means that big super slide for your living room is all the way up front. So this thing does have a pretty decent hitch weight. I'm probably going to recommend a three-quarter ton truck and up. Can't talk. There we go. But the living room and kitchen arrangement on this is not like anything I've really seen before. It has 42 square foot of counter space, and like a redonkulous 50-inch jumbotron staring you in the face right there, right across from a theater seat at a perfect viewing angle. A reasonable campsite window coverage, especially considering you're right up front by the nose where you really get to maximize that windshield. It's not just buried in a bedroom. There's some cool things about it. It's got a couple drawbacks, like it's washer dryer prep, but again, it's kind of big, kind of heavy. You know, you're not going to do it probably with most half-ton pickups. Showing you the good with the bad is what I want to do today, and if you appreciate that and how we get down here and get you the early footage, hit that subscribe button. Let's get started. And really, I think if I had to try to describe exactly what this is, it's a modernization of just like the early classic front living, front kitchen sort of ideas, way before like the television entertainment center was a major focal point in a camper. You would have things kind of like this. Maybe the front sofa, some kind of front dinette. There were some interesting little concepts that kind of came into existence a few times, but they never totally took hold. And I feel like maybe with some of the newer things that we've seen in the RV industry, maybe it's the missing piece of the puzzle that was never there. So this is rare. First of all, it's a full front U-dinette, but notice how they didn't just cheese it and redo their normal traditional 7-foot dinette. It's like an 8-foot wall-to-wall dinette that folds down into one giant mega bed. Not to mention the extra width that you're getting on that. If you do have like 4 adults actually wrapped around that thing, you're not like knee fighting one another nearly as badly. Now, I can't say this enough. There's like 4 or 5 areas in this RV that are not finished. This RV is not complete. This is early access footage. So like the front windshield isn't fully trimmed out the way it should be. Some of the cabinets don't actually have removable shelves in them like they will. In the bedroom, the hanging wardrobe closets don't actually have doors on them yet. But I'm kind of trusting you as my audience here. I feel like you're smart enough, you're educated enough that you'll get the idea that of what the RV currently is and is not. Now, like all your Freedom Expresses, you are carpetless and ventless in the floor, but they are no longer a laminated floor structure. We'll talk more about that when we step outside. I really like it anytime the slide floor and the main floor are match, personally. That's just one of my personal preferences. I guess it's a little harder for RV designers to deal with things like that, but obviously Freedom Express found a way. And they found a way away from their near black decor that they had the last couple of seasons. They do have 2 different fabric tones. So like the wood tone won't change, but the skins on your dinette seating and on the theater seat, there is a different color swaption available. And my camera is really being unkind to this. It doesn't have quite that aggressive terracotta red, Georgia dirt kind of color to it. That was one of the things when I was just a little guy between my 5th and 6th grade school years. Spent a little time living in Georgia. And on the way, the color of the dirt changes. Like in Michigan, the color of dirt ranges anywhere from like chocolate milk to Hershey's fudge. I don't know how else to describe it. But on the way down, it starts getting red. And that really threw me as a kid. But it's just kind of one of the differences in the world. Now, this looks flat down here. Remember, there's a big camp kitchen under this gigantic kitchen countertop over here. This is the area that is most improved as compared to prototype 1 that I saw. I never put the camera to prototype 1, but 42 square foot of countertop space. It is absolutely incredible. And I try to sometimes mention like what might be similar to this out there. In terms of exact head-to-head floor plans, this is a unicorn. If you really, really look though, it does share some qualities with something like a Winnebago 2630 MLRK, which I have full video of, where basically that the Winnebago is a front bedroom mid-bathroom. This is a rear bedroom mid-bathroom, but they have some otherwise somewhat similar kind of things going on. Now, all your cabinetry is still pocket screwed and lumber core. Your ceilings in here are 6'9" tall, and one of the things that's also really cool is the fact that the air conditioner ducts can all turn and close individually. So like I'm one of those people, I like hot air blowing directly on the core of my, nope, cold air blowing directly on the core of my body all the time in the summertime. Like when I'm driving in my car, I've got one AC vent pointed straight at my belly, basically, because that is what will help keep me a whole lot cooler. Well, being able to kind of direct the air like that sometimes is awful nice. But this is 50 amp capable. This is second air capable. And the entry door is capable of having an privacy shade slipped into that sucker as well. One of them little Slim Shady kind of jobs right there. Wicka wicka. Anyways, moving up top. Why do we always put an S on the end of anyway? Make it anyways. I'm not sure. I want to give them some serious props right here. Cracking this open, you see how their overhead doors are actually like strutted. Well, not strutted, but the hinges hold themselves open. I think they borrowed that from their motorized division, and I ain't mad about it. That's the something borrowed part of this camper right here. You'll see the same thing done in the bedroom as well. It's just far, far easier for, overall access. Now, it doesn't have a bunch of lower cabinet space, but I don't know that you'd want to get on your hands and knees and crawl inside a big, deep countertop like that. It does have a lot of drawers where the storage comes to you. There's places for wastebaskets. And again, the big pantry built into the slide beside the refrigerator, that will have shelving. Right now, this is in the more proof of concept phase, and they haven't fully fleshed out some of those things in the one that we're looking at today. So don't be like, what is that big empty cavity? No, it will have storage in it. And I know I mentioned that, but I want to kind of reiterate it because it is a little bit jarring when you see it. You're like, what, did they cheap out on that? No, it's just not done. You may have noticed the utensil drawer. That thing that wraps around the countertop down here is one of my favorite things in RV design, in any RV design. And you may have noticed that's a stainless farm sink. And they put pop-up power towers around here, which I think is really handy for easy appliance kind of access and use. And man, I tell you what, you want to turn this into the ultimate invite some friends over game day station. This thing can do it right here. Oh, that's a nice little detail. The way that they kind of angled that shadow box in a little bit, it really, I didn't even realize it at first, but that creates an awesome little focal point for that big old 4K Jumbotron that we're staring at. That looks good. I like that. Sorry. Squirrel! Saw something shiny. Actually, it was frogs, not a squirrel, but you get the idea. Now, I have no idea how I'm going to try going about recording this bathroom. Because it is huge. It has mega storage, extra closet space, tons of linen space, potentially extra, washer dryer capability in that big cabinet over there. But it's in, they put so much big cabinetry in, it's a little bit tricky for me to try to figure out how to record this. So I'm going to do it on the fly playing jazz like I do. Porcelain foot flush stool, I personally feel it needs angled into the middle of the room a little bit because it's fantastic for righties. But there's some left-handed folks that are really going to struggle banging their elbows against that cabinet. Maybe that cabinet just needs to shave back a little bit. I'm not sure. Now, going into the realm of wide-angle lens mode, this big thing over here, that is either mega dry storage. Again, going back to that classic Coachmen Royale huge closets that they were just really known for. Or washer-dryer capability, which is becoming more common, but still overall a fairly rare find in the world of travel trailers. Now, the shower over here with the RV being 6'9" from floor to ceiling panel, plenty of good headroom in that thing. And you may notice how they didn't go with a little space-saving radius shower. They did stick with a little bit bigger rectangular model right here. I guess I'm sliding backwards this way. You can see the heat vent there. I'm just sort of letting the camper take me where it wants to. And when you wake up in the morning, if you sit up too fast, you might startle yourself because you all of a sudden might see a reflection of yourself there, like, oh my God, someone's in the camper. And, hopefully that does not come to pass. The problem is I'm facing exactly the wrong direction right now. Let me see what I could do here. I'm actually just going to keep slip sliding through, and I'm going to showcase the fact that we've got that peanut butter chocolate Reese's decor going on here with that sliding privacy door here into the bedroom. Bedroom does have nice cross breeze windows, getting you some fresh air from outside. And again, it will have cabinet doors. You can actually see where they have the little latches for the door. The door just is not installed yet. Again, this being a little more of a proof of concept kind of camper. Now, they've included these headboard power pockets behind those hanging towers pretty much in almost all of the Freedom Express lineup at this point. And you can, again, see how it is capable of accepting a second air conditioner. And you've got that classic rear wall headboard window, which is nice. Of course, you have privacy shades all over. And that is a 60 by 80 true queen bed as well. Handy if you're a little bit taller like me. Private rear bedrooms like this have become so rare in the RV industry. People will ask me all the time, why? Why did they stop putting the bedrooms in the back? And the answer is because of slide outs. Slides added weight. To compensate for that, RV designers had to put the weight above the axles, which forced the bedrooms up front. Just kind of one of those things that happen. Now, like all your Freedom Expresses, you have that awesome vaulted bed lift system right there. And of course, like I said, you've got the headboard kind of power tower, power pocket situation thing going on. Not a poly pocket, a power pocket. Keep that in mind, two very different things. But it's because this one doesn't have any sort of radius nose because it's on the dead rear wall of the RV, they actually gave you 3 shelves back there. So you can have all kinds of little random odds and ends waiting for you. One thing I can tell you, it might be a problem for some folks. Personally, I see this as a model being used most at the park. It does have one significant Achilles heel for traveling. So the bedroom and the bathroom going down the road are flat, not accessible. Now, it's a rack and pinion slide. In theory, you could deploy it partially, but you'd have to open it so far, you might as well open the whole thing. And that will make you hang out of a parking space, and that is a problem and a deal breaker for some folks. So it is not nap and crap-tastic, but it is snack-tastic. You can walk in this thing. You can use all of that kitchen counter space. You can access the refrigerator, and since the dinette is not built into the slide, there's zero question as to whether you can or cannot occupy and use it in transit because it's not in a potentially unsupported floor. Unsupported? That sounds like some weird alien thing. I'm splort! Anyway, you can wrap around that thing. If you need to stop and grab yourself a sandwich or something, this RV gives you plenty of room to do that and be able to prepare something. But it's really an RV that's going to definitely best be used when you get there rather than on the way there, I think. And I sort of mentioned this when the video first began, but my generalized recommendation for towing this thing is going to be something in the 3/4 ton family. It does feel a bit sizable, and with that big slide up front, the hitch weight that's going to cause, it feels a little bit more than a 1/2 ton should probably be handling around. And I tell you what, depending on where you're sitting, your neighbors can get just an excellent view of what you're having for dinner, maybe scope out what's on TV up here. And that's the thing to remember with tinted windows. If they're backlit, like at night, people can still see in your camper, but they do offer some really awesome privacy during the day. So there is that here. And there's that big slide I was telling you about. Now, a question I get all the time is, what is that rectangular door that you see on the slide over there on these Freedom Expresses? That is the service panel to the 12-volt compressor fridge. So God forbid you need some kind of work. The tech doesn't necessarily have to get in and dismount the whole fridge and go through that whole rigmarole. One of the things that is nice, though, this is long and strong and down to get the camping on. But it does have wide stance stability axles, which really does help kind of cheat the wheelbase. It makes the RV feel like it's a little bit shorter than it actually is. And something I just noticed, it is a dual-headed sewer monster. You do have a bathroom black and gray behind the wheels, and you do have just a kitchen gray outlet up front. I wasn't aware of that previously, so I'm kind of glad I came over here. You may have also noticed kind of a collected hookup location. Freedom Express is so good about that. They put the hookups, generally speaking, near the the back of the RV on the driver's poop side of the camper. And what that does is it makes it so much easier dealing with like park hookups. It just, you can tell that somebody who camps actually had their hand on this thing. Now, this is kind of interesting. The RV does have actually 2 full pass-throughs. This one actually goes under the dinette though. And if you notice, those doors that like swung open under the dinette to get to the storage, that's the door that you're looking at right there. So the good news is that's not necessarily your only pass-through compartment, and you don't necessarily even have to use it. You can just lock it, set it, and forget it, Ron Popeil style, you know. Good awning space on this. And also, the awning, notice where it's located. It totally comfortably covers the entirety of all exterior like camp kitchen usage, features, and functions. And this is what all the Freedom Express outside camp kitchens are going to here. You see this galvanized rolled steel kind of countertop and drawer and whatnot with the utensil drawer. They're all going to be going to that. And this little insert pops out in case you want to go set it out on the picnic table that's included with the RV. It'll actually be mounted in the rear pass-through. Now you can see that kind of little touchscreen display up there. These do have a factory standard tire pressure monitoring system, which is handy for some peace of mind right there. And this, I kind of wish that open compartment right there, it had like, to me, I look at that and I'm like, oh man, that would be perfect for wastebasket. And I bet you saw that fly zip across the screen just now. This fly has been terrorizing me for 6 hours straight, and I'm about to absolutely lose it. Anyway, he has buzzed my ear so many times, I'm gonna call him Maverick. I wish that there was like a little hole right there where you could drop garbage from the inside into an outside accessible trash can, like Northwood does that. There's some classic camping brands that have been doing that. It's a really handy feature. Your gas grill quick connect is just behind the rear tire right there, by the way. Now, when I back up, you see that it does still have a full 250-pound rated, always on roof ladder. So getting up and down to that fully walkable roof for your service or cleaning off the optional 200-watt solar panel, something like that, pretty easy. But under the rear bed, this is where you have a classic pass-through, because RVs used to often have rear bedrooms, but slide-outs kind of changed that because of the way they mess with hitch weights. That's where that outside picnic table is located. And you've got a 1, 2, 3, yeah, you know me, junk in the trunk access on this sucker. And a major shift from what they were doing before is what they've done with their floor construction. They used to have a 2-inch laminated floor, and what they've changed over to here is a 3-inch total floor, but it's non-laminated now, and it's topped with 5/8 tongue and groove plywood. Sometimes in these bigger rigs, folks would see soft spots develop. Far less common in my experience on Freedom Expresses, but it doesn't really matter because they're not doing that anymore. They are still maintaining the dual ASDEL, as I like to call it, where it's ASDEL on the inside and exterior layers of the sidewalls. And you may have heard me mention optional solar packages bumped up from 175 to now 200 watts with a charge controller that should be able to accept at least a second panel, but I'm not familiar with their wiring gauge, so definitely double check on that if you think about some expansion. So what do you think about this? I think a lot of people are either going to say, wow, this is really awesome, or this is stupid. Why would anybody ever want something like this? Like, I think there's going to be a major dichotomy. But remember, they make an entire lineup of RVs, so this is for some folks, but not necessarily for everybody. Check the link in the video description. You can check for pricing and availability on there. Whether you're curious or whether you're serious, it's one click away. And if we do happen to be sold out and that link doesn't return any results, give our team a call and we can certainly give you some figures on something without needing your social security number and your bank account, whatever, just to do all that. So until next time, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.